this project is going to get Travis's biggest push he's given Faygo yet.
Definitely.
Let's not underestimate the power of the Travis Scott cosign for right now. Like,
and I think, honestly, I think I am underestimating it a little bit right now.
Let's not underestimate it.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Soul Serum podcast. I am your Let's Lose Our Minds host, Clay Bonine. I am joined by my Knock Knock co-host, Tanner Mavis.
Yes, sir.
And we are here today, Tanner, to talk about a promising artist this most recent crop of SoundCloud, underground, hip-hop artists, whatever you prefer to call it.
Yep.
The very elusive SoFaygo.
Yep. Very talented.
The very talented SoFaygo as well. But what do we want to talk about today? Because I feel like you kind of headed this topic, so I want to hear like what's your angle? What are you feeling? Hey, real quick, if you all want to support the podcast, if you want to support Soul Serum, go to soulserum.shop. We have this merch left over. You see the numbers right here. Anything that you buy is a huge support to us. And if you are seeing this advertisement and you use the discount code podcast, you'll get 15% off on your order. Tag us in your pictures wearing it. We love to see it. All right. Thank you all. Back to the podcast.
So there was a tweet that came out like 2 or 3 months ago when we were taking a break with the podcast, and someone literally tweeted, Travis Scott ruined SoFaygo's career. And it got like 3,000 likes and like a bunch of retweets, quote retweets, you know. Some people's like agreeing, some people saying, nah, give it time. You know what I mean? Like it was like this.
There was a discourse.
There was a discourse. And I was like, this is interesting because I've had thoughts, and there's been talks that like, you know, Travis is mishandling, his rollout ever since he signed to Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have played into it, and there's a lot of things that we don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. But I think there are things that have happened in the Cactus Jack camp that we can discuss, and that we will discuss further on. But I feel like it was enough discourse. It was enough discourse to like break it down into an episode. Yeah. And I personally love SoFaygo. I love Travis. And this is something right up our alley. So I felt like this is something that we should talk about.
Definitely.
And it hits our niche and our audience. So I know we have some SoFaygo fans that are listening. So
okay, so give us a little bit of like the context. If somebody clicked on this episode and maybe didn't know the whole SoFaygo story, give us the pre-Cactus Jack SoFaygo context here.
All right, so I don't know everything about SoFaygo. That's just a disclaimer. I know probably more than the casual listener.
Definitely.
But I did a little digging, a little research on. I watched a few user YouTube documentaries. You know, people making like fan-made documentaries of SoFaygo. And I pulled some stuff I already knew, and I added my own little research that I already know myself. But so pre Travis Scott and Cactus Jack, SoFaygo was growing up in Atlanta, releasing songs on SoundCloud. I think his name was Trilanese was his original name before he changed his name to SoFaygo. And I'm pretty sure he got his name SoFaygo from the soda Faygo. Yep. He was in his room one time.
Shout out Insane Clown Posse.
There you go.
By the way,
he was in his room. He was talking to Mama Cuff in an interview backstage at Summer Smash, and she asked him how he got his name, and he said he got it from. He was like high as shit in his room drinking a Faygo, and he thought the name was just hard, and he thought he snapped by saying SoFaygo. It's nothing deeper than that. It was just SoFaygo, the Faygo bottle.
And to be fair, SoFaygo is a good artist name.
I fuck with
pretty
it.
fire. Yeah,
I fuck with it. But yeah, he was releasing a lot of songs as Trilanese, and then he changed his name to SoFaygo. His tape that really put him on the map in like the quote unquote plug and be, SoundCloud melodic type of wave going on. Like it's like post Lil Tecca era when Tecca like first started happening, and like I feel like Tecca sprouted he was like, Tekka was like the artist that was the bridge from, you know, our SoundCloud generation to like the kids that were just like 4 or 5 years younger than that. You know what I mean? It was a mark of a new era after, you know, Juice, X, and Peep died.
For sure.
I think Tekka was like a bridge between that and 2019 when Ransom blew up. And then all these kids started sprouting up. SoFaygo's, Summers, Autumn.
Yep.
You know, even you can even say like Wyland, like all these the plug and B wave started to happen. SoFaygo released a tape called War on June 29th of 2019 with songs such as Clutch, Jug, and Can't Be. Clutch is one of my favorite songs by him. He had like 10K followers on Instagram at the time, just to give you like a perspective of where he was at in his career. It's a lot for, you know, a normal
underground artist,
but like still in the sense of like quote unquote blowing up and where he's at right now, he's sitting at like 800K, something like that. I'm sure he's gonna hit 1 million once Pink Heart drops. Like he'll hit 1 million soon. He just did Jimmy Kimmel last night, but I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Later on in 2019, Taz Taylor found him and he started working with Internet Money and all the producers. I'm sure that's when he got acquainted with Lil Tekka around the same time, because Tekka was working heavy with Internet Money. He got accustomed, you know, to that whole world of producers, which is, you know, once you start working with those guys, like your names on the Mac labels are probably hitting you up. You know, your whole network starts to really grow. And you're making significant strides as an artist.
Taz Taylor's probably a good phone number to have in your phone.
Most definitely. And then his manager, Lamar. So this is what I know. I've been following Lamar for a little bit. He had a huge hand in cleaning up his image, getting his music from SoundCloud over to DSPs and Spotify, and really, you know, starting to have a footprint and presence on all platforms, not just SoundCloud. That's what every SoundCloud rapper has to eventually graduate to. Lamar had an internship at Alamo Records where he learned a lot about data research and like structuring deals. And long story short, he tried his best to get Alamo to sign SoFaygo in like 2019, 2020, and they declined several times. So Lamar took that as, you know, he took that as a sign that he was so passionate about, you know, SoFaygo and how he could blow up, that he ended up quitting his job at Alamo and started managing SoFaygo full time. And I think this was like 2020 when this happened. And also around the same time, Lil Tekka had reached out where he FaceTimed Faygo and he told him that he wanted to produce a whole project for him. And this is where we got Angelic 7, which had Knock Knock on this record.
Right.
This was January 7th of 2020, you know, early 2020. And mind you, the Knock Knock SoFaygo moment on TikTok did not happen until late 2020, early 2021. It took about a year until that song really started like going crazy. So later on in 2020, After Me dropped in December 2020, a week before Whole Lotta Red dropped. This is when things started really taking off for him, you know, off the map every day. This project is this is one of the most flawless projects to come out of the under, in my opinion. My opinion don't mean much, but to me, this project is one of my favorite songs to come out of the underground in a while.
Now, didn't one of the Kardashians like post Knock Knock or Off the Map or something?
I think Kylie posted. It was Stormy's birthday party. She posted a video, and Up Off 1942 was playing in the background.
Yeah.
And around the same time, it was that time when Travis was in the works of signing SoFaygo.
Right.
But yeah, After Me drops, you know, the video comes out, and I remember the video being like strikingly different. The sound was really, it was like familiar, but it was different. It was, which turned into the quote unquote rage sound. Off the Map was like that song that really, you know, helped it go. And also Whole Lotta Red came out around the same time. But that's why I wanted to say After Me came out a week before Whole Lotta Red. So it's like, it's cool to see that Faygo was even ahead of Whole Lotta Red. You know what I mean? In a way.
Yeah.
Because we know what happens after Whole Lotta Red. Like a whole shift just changed as far as sound, the underground, from everything to, you know, sound, people's aesthetics, people's fucking Instagram profiles, like everything just changes, and a whole new, you know, essentially a whole new like rebirth of the underground kind of happens after that, in my opinion. But So after the success of, not only starting to go crazy on TikTok, After Me is doing extremely well independently, gets the attention of Travis Scott. Travis Scott wants to sign SoFaygo. He ends up signing to Cactus Jack in April of 2021. Thank you for bringing up the Kylie thing. I totally forgot about that, the Kardashian thing. That's that's huge as well. But yeah, he signs to Cactus Jack in April of 2021.
Which it's like, I remember, I think you probably sent it to our group chat, like the Instagram post.
Yeah, I was
where
like,
it's just a cactus as the caption,
like,
and everybody's like, "Here we go! Oh shit, Cactus Jack!"
It's just so fiery. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I was early on SoFaygo by any means. I remember blogging about Tekka and hearing about. I remember hearing about the name, seeing the name SoFaygo. I remember seeing the name Autumn, Summers. I remember seeing a lot of this. And it was a very small bubble at one point in time. Like, it was the Plug and Be wave was a very, very small niche thing. And back in 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing about it, but never dove into it. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I was that early, but I was early enough when, After Me dropped before the Cactus Jack SoFaygo signing. Like, he had less than 100K on Instagram. Like, I was there somewhat early, but not as early as some of you fuckers that are listening.
So wait, can we also take a moment so Cactus Jack, who are members on Cactus Jack?
Yeah.
Don Tolliver.
Yep. Well, Travis, Don Tolliver, Sheck West.
Are we forgetting anybody, or is that?
No, there's a couple more.
I remember there was like the one girl who said she was signed and then she wasn't.
You could just
signed.
say Chase B, basically,
and Wonder Girl. The label's current acts include Travis Scott, Sheck West, Don Tolliver, SoFaygo, Chase B, and Wonder Girl.
Wonder Girl's crazy.
Yeah, that's actually pretty fire that she's former artist Smoke Perp. Yep. I forgot about that. Anyway, go ahead. I just wanted to give context for Cactus Jack here.
So that's like a short, brief background of SoFaygo up until the Cactus Jack signing. And now we're getting to our question. We're going to answer our question in the title at the very end.
Yeah.
But post Cactus Jack signing, or let's just say this first. Pre-Cactus Jack signing, SoFaygo was releasing a lot of music, putting out a lot of projects, a lot of singles. If you go back on his SoundCloud and his Spotify, he was releasing singles very, very frequently. And, the fans were getting fed. But once you get signed, that kind of all changes. It's very normal for an artist. Once they get signed, they're prepping for their first, studio album release. They want it to be the best product possible.
Yep.
So you're really taking your time. He kind of goes into this, mystery type of aesthetic, like not really giving the fans much access to what's going on. You're just seeing videos of him performing at Rolling Loud, hanging out with Travis Scott at XYZ places.
Yeah. And this is
doing a lot more festivals, going on tour with Trippie Redd. Right. I'll get to that too, but
this starts to feel very Travis Scott inspired, the whole mysterious social media presence, He never says that he's signed to Cactus Jack. Like, it's just the emoji, and then we have to
make their own conclusions.
Yeah, exactly. So it feels like he gets signed in April of 2021 and there's already influence coming from the label.
Yeah. And I think that was the right route. Like, I'm not saying this was the wrong route. Like, I think once something like that does happen, you get that big of a cosign, you can afford to take a step back and be like, all right, like, let's really lock in on what the fuck, like, what type of artist, like, what do I want to represent? What do I want my sound, the future of my sound to sound like, everything as an artist, like, really take hold of, your creative vision and tap into everything that you ever want to do as an artist. Cause now he's going to have the budget to do
the resources to do whatever the fuck he wants. Cause Travis signed him, and Travis is one of the biggest artists in not only hip hop, but in the world. Yeah.
And it's self-explanatory for everybody that's listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
So after he got signed, the only stuff that he's really released were a couple features, MP5 with Trippie, banger.
Yep.
Smoke with Don Tolliver and Heaven, or HVN Heaven, banger.
Yep.
And Solid with Lil Yachty off of his birthday mix or whatever.
Yep.
Banger. Very good song.
Yeah.
And then he had one single up to this point, post up to where we are right now. Let's Lose Our Minds. And it had a really good video. That song is very, very good. Mind you, Let's Lose Our Minds was the one sole video that he had on his Instagram that he dropped a trailer for that had like over 1 million views. People were dying to get that song. And I believe it lived up to the hype.
Go watch the rap snippets tier list video if you want to know more about it. Okay,
Yes.
Carry on.
And then also I want to note somewhere during this time in late 2021, early 2022, when he got signed to Cactus Jack, Barry Hefner of Since the 80s Management Company, who this company manages JID, Earth Gang, and now Mike Dimes, and a couple other artists. Very successful, management company. Barry Hefner is a GOAT. Follow him on Instagram if you want to work in the industry. He gives a lot of gems about artist development and very transparent about his process on how he deals with management and does deals and this and that. Very cool guy to get a lot of gems from. But I just want to put that in there as well. So he is under this management deal. I'm sure Lamar and Barry get a percentage as far as all the revenue that's coming in from SoFaygo's career.
Sure.
And then this brings us pretty much to the point after all the features, after Let's Lose Our Minds, there was a big. When did Let's Lose Our Minds dropped last year? So it's been a very big gap from 2021. I forget exactly what day it was up until now. We're in November of 2022. And we haven't really gotten much.
We've had like less than 10 SoFaygo appearances just in general in music since he got signed to Cactus Jack.
Doing a lot of touring, which is what you gotta do when live performances is still like the best way to like win fans, in my opinion, like lifelong fans. If you can put on a really good show, you're gonna have you're gonna win at least a couple fans for life,
for sure.
Especially in front of like Trippie Redd's crowd, who it's majority of young kids, impressionable kids that fuck with the same type of music. He's doing festivals. He did a couple Rolling Louds. He's done. I can't even think about it. He's done a lot of festivals. I know that he's done a lot. A lot of like big time signing artists that this is what they're doing. This is the natural. He's doing all the steps that you're supposed to do as a rising artist. Yeah. But in between all of this, from when he got signed to Cactus Jack in April of 2021 up until now, really it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we finally got an announcement of when Pink Heartz was going to drop. Mm-hmm. Oh, I do want to say he released the before Pink EP. I forgot to say that. That was like 2 months ago. He released the before Pink EP, but it was like a last minute thing. It felt like, at least, that like we thought that we were getting the Pink Heartz album for the longest, but he just dropped this like out of nowhere and just pretty much just posted once about it and then like never posted about it again. And he posted one video that was like, it looked like a video that was just thrown together with a bunch of footage. And it kind of flopped. Like it didn't really do all that well. Like numbers wise, I thought there's some good music on there. Like not some of my favorite records, but it kind of felt like it came and it went.
A little throwaway tape almost, in a way. Yeah.
It kind of felt like it came and it went. And I understand, he's Travis's new signing, the before Pink, Days Before Rodeo.
Right. Right.
It's the teaser before the big shebang. Yeah. But we can't really compare Before Pink to Days Before Rodeo, because Days Before is
apples to oranges,
is a fucking classic.
It's incredible.
But incredible.
So we get Before Pink.
Yes, we get Before Pink, and up until this point, a lot of the focus was on touring. It was on his image, getting his album right. He did XXL. I want to note that too, but I think a lot of brand deals as well. His song's now on the Beats commercial with LeBron and fucking Bronny James, which is sick.
Wild. Very
super
wild.
Sick.
Yeah.
Like seeing that commercial on a commercial like during Monday Night Football is just sick as hell.
Crazy.
And then last night, recording this, what day is it today?
It is the 8th.
Okay, the 8th. So last night, the 7th, he did a Jimmy Fallon performance, which was fucking sick to see. But up until the point of the announcement of Pink Heartz, there was really, as far as music,
there's a lot of nothingness.
Yes.
I think that's what we need to like keep mentioning is that like we're doing a lot of like compressing of SoFaygo's timeline when really it's like far points with a lot of nothing in between them since he signs to Cactus Jack. And a lot of people had a lot of expectations and a lot of excitement for SoFaygo, for him getting signed to Cactus Jack. And it just felt like we never got like a payoff. Right?
Yeah. It's been a very slow burn.
Yes.
And, the state of how releasing music is now, it's like fans are expected to be fed like all the fucking time. And like, you can make the argument that people's attention spans, people just move on quicker nowadays than they did 5 years ago.
Definitely.
But, some of our favorite artists, Cardi, when Cardi waited like 2 years to drop his first tape, he waited for everybody else to drop and then he finally dropped his and it paid off.
It certainly did.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think a lot of like, a lot of it is like a lot of like the general concern of fans and like why people were just like getting upset that he hasn't dropped yet. I think we just been all the other underground artists have been releasing like crazy. Like Ken Garson's already dropped like 3 projects. Destroy Lonely's dropped his debut. Yeet's dropped 3 fucking projects like in between. Like Yeet happens.
We've got a lot of summers. We've got a lot of autumn.
Yeah.
Like
Can.
Everybody's
dropped.
Even Wyland, who doesn't talk, like has little to no presence.
Dropped.
He's dropped, So I think you're right. I think a lot of people like SoFaygo's that last one.
Yeah.
Everybody else has jumped into the pool and SoFaygo's still standing on the side and we're like, what's going on, SoFaygo?
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with like everybody being up in arms about it.
Well, you have something written here, which I think is an interesting point, and we will get to the answering of the question, but waiting for Travis to drop Utopia, is that affecting SoFaygo's rollout and his drop? And also, as you noted here, the Astroworld tragedy, that not only stunted Travis Scott's releasing of music and brand deals and whatnot,
and Cactus Jack,
everybody in Cactus Jack, I feel like.
I'm sure Travis is the one that ultimately calls the shots as far as like releases.
I think it's safe to say,
when people, because they're not dropping all around the same time. They're probably dropping at like different quarters of the year, spreading out their releases,
For sure.
Making sure that, everything's like evenly spread out. So like marketing dollars are spent, there's no overlap of like marketing.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
Rollout. But yeah, that's like that was like a really underlying question that I had, is if we think that, did the Astroworld tragedy, that happening, because obviously SoFaygo is more than likely going to be on Utopia at least once.
Yeah, I would say so.
The whole camp is going to be there on at least once, you would think.
Yeah.
So were they waiting for Utopia to drop first to give SoFaygo, somewhat of a momentum going into his own tape?
Because I bet there are still people who are Travis Scott fans, but not SoFaygo fans.
Yeah.
In the sense of they probably just don't really know about SoFaygo,
So maybe they were hoping for like SoFaygo being a highlight of the album, so people will go and listen to him. I think that's what happened. I don't know if they'll come out and say it.
I feel like we'll never get to hear them say yes, that is what happened. But just based on like, how I feel like we're two people who observe music and how people release their music and whatnot. Like it would be hard for me to believe that the postponing of Utopia and the Astroworld tragedy did not have a direct effect on SoFaygo dropping. I just couldn't imagine. How could it not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But at the time that we are recording this, and I'll probably put this clip at the beginning too, at the time of recording of this episode, we are recording days before Pink Heartz drops. 3 days before Pink Heartz drops. So you all can let us know in the comments how it's sounding, if what we're saying sounds right or sounds wrong or anything along those lines. But just want to clarify that we have not heard Pink Heartz yet.
Yeah.
Just as a side note.
We've heard 4 songs. At least I have the 4 songs that he released. We haven't talked about that yet. I was gonna
let's
get there.
let's get in that too.
Just a week or two ago, he released 4 songs off of the 17 song album that will be Pink Heartz. Only reason why I know it's 17 because on Apple Music it says it's going to be
track 1,
17
track 2,
tracks.
track 3. Yeah.
Now, this is where the questionable like rollout, when I started questioning like what the fuck is going on. So they released 4 songs off of the tape. Blitz, another one, For Show, and Hell Yeah. I think they're good songs.
Sure.
I don't think they're great. They're good. I like For Show. I like the song with Ken Carson.
Yeah, Hell Yeah with Ken Carson. So.
Yeah, For Show is a really cool melodic. I like when Faygo gets into his real melodic, kind of borderline R&B bag where he's showing off his vocals. Like I think that's really where he separates himself from being a SoundCloud hip hop, rapper. I think he could really he could go the Chris Brown route if he really wanted to. Maybe not all the dance moves, but like vocally, I think he can do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But
the rollout for that was strange.
Yeah,
was it not?
It was just out of nowhere. They said they're releasing Pink Heartz on 11/11, and they dropped 4 songs. And the 4 songs weren't even packaged together on Spotify. It was 4 different single links that you would have to click to get to each one. So like,
strange.
The reason why I'm upset about it, because I think from like a manager perspective, I'm always looking at my artists like Spotify, making sure everything's clean. You want to make your Spotify like as easy to navigate as possible. Yeah. It should be 1 or 2 clicks.
Presentation is important. Yeah. Presentation is very important.
It should be 1 or 2 clicks to get you from point A to point B, point B being the song.
Right.
And on the latest release, it had the last song that they put out on the streaming platforms, which was, I think, I forget which one it was, but yeah, we can go to it right now.
So the one, if you go to his discography.
Go to his page real quick. Go down. So his latest release is another one. See, like on here, like it don't even have the other 3 songs in the latest releases. You have to click.
I have to click singles and EPs
you have to see all discography to go to the other 3 songs. So I'm just like, why didn't you package all 4 of them into one little tiny EP, and then when the full thing drops, throw that thing all into the album? Yeah, I don't know. It just made it more difficult for like fans than it should have been, in my humble opinion.
And it just looks weird.
And releasing 4 songs like 2 or 3 weeks before, like I don't know, like it's to me it's kind of questionable. It can be up for debate, I guess. I guess we'll see when the full thing drops and we can actually say our full opinions.
Yeah,
but I'm not really rocking with it, to be honest.
I just feel like, I don't know, if I'm in agreement with you where if I was a manager of somebody, like it just seems messy. Like it seems messy in coming from Cactus Jack, a camp that seems very calculated, a camp that doesn't ever really show you too much, it just, and from Travis, who himself is a king of album rollout, really, to release 4 singles and not staggered, just throw them all out at us at different albums, quote unquote, on Spotify, just feels very messy to me. Like, I don't understand how that slips through the cracks with them.
I know. I don't know. Just like.
So here, let's get to it, man. Let's talk about it.
All right.
Did Travis Scott ruin SoFaygo's career?
I think it's hard to say at this point. I don't think he ruined his career. I fuck with SoFaygo and him as an artist and his sound enough where I don't really care about, what his album sales are going to do. Like, I just want this project to be, the biggest and best representation of where SoFaygo is right now, and like, you know, a collection of everything that I love about, you know, his sound and what he brings to the table. I don't really care if it does, you know, the same numbers as Yeet or not, because I know that those comparisons are gonna come.
They're the two like, what's the, I'm trying to think of like the comparison. It's like Luka Doncic and Trae Young. Like, they're gonna always be compared no matter what. And I feel like SoFaygo and Yeet are the same way. You know, like, they're gonna be compared, even though they are two completely different artists who make different music. Like, they are always going to be compared because they were coming up at the same time and are kind of the favorite childs of the new era. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. But yeah, bro,
I agree with you in the sense of, like, for us as fans, like as we are, like, I'm going to listen to the record no matter what. And I'm going to give it, you know, proper attention and proper care. And I don't think that the rollout not being this crazy impressive thing is a bad thing. It just feels off for the amount of hype that is behind SoFaygo from fans of the underground.
Because there was just so much more hype. Like, so he was being so much more talked about, you know. I don't know. When I say hype, it's just nowadays it's like you hear his music on TikTok, you hear it everywhere, you see people talking about him, you're actively listening to him. Now it's just like there's so much music coming out and like so many new projects. You're people like us, we're catching up with everything new that's coming out. We're digesting everyone, not just him.
Right.
And it kind of feels like, you know, I go back to SoFaygo occasionally, and when it pops up on my playlist, you know, there's songs that I'm not skipping because there's just classics that he has. Yeah. But he's kind of been on the back. He's in the back of the minds of, you know, active underground hip hop listeners. Yeah. Which is, I would consider that type of listener. Our fans probably consider themselves that type of listener.
Definitely.
You like, in order for your project to go up and for it to get spread like across everywhere, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be some sort of buzz leading up into a project. You know what I mean?
I agree.
All of our favorite artists had this crazy buzz, you know?
Yes.
Cardi with all the snippets leading up until his self-titled, Rodeo, Travis with everything that we don't have to get into it. Like, there was so much, you know, buzz going into it. But at the end of the day, like, none of that shit fucking matters to me personally, because if the music is good objectively and I fuck with it, and that's all that matters to me personally. So like, I cannot sit here and say that Travis Scott has ruined SoFaygo's career until it's like 3 months after this project has dropped and we sit with it, you know, for some time. Yeah. And then we can assess it. But has there been questionable decisions from my perspective? Absolutely.
For sure.
But do I know the reasons behind these decisions? No, I don't.
No. So I think we're getting in a good spot of resolution and conclusion here. Let's do a little bit of Pink Heartz predictions, because as I noted, we're recording this before Pink Heartz comes out, so we haven't listened to it yet. Do we think that the moment has passed? And while I do believe that active underground hip hop listeners like ourselves, like our viewers, are going to listen, do you think the moment has passed and Pink Heartz isn't going to break that barrier to the casual listener? You know what I mean?
I think it will, to an extent, because I think this project is going to get Travis's biggest push he's given Faygo yet.
Definitely.
Let's not underestimate the power of the Travis Scott cosign for right now. Like,
and I think, honestly, I am underestimating it a little bit now.
Let's not underestimate it. Let's let it ride. I'm sure there's not only, you know, musically, he's going to be pushing it. I don't even know if Travis is going to be featured on it. We don't even know yet.
According to the Genius track list, which, you know, who's to say how real it is? The only other features other than Ken Carson are Don Toliver and DJ Khaled and Gunna, which
that's cap.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Genius.com.
I would love to hear Travis. I would love to hear Travis and Faygo do like some sort of like
a melodic
90210 type of joint. You know what I mean? Like super melodic.
Yes.
And getting to their auto-tune singing
big
bags.
song, a big
like
grand song.
Yeah, a lot of instruments going on.
Because Faygo, I think the important thing to note here too, before we wrap up, is Faygo, you touched on it a little bit, but Faygo has the potential to make songs like that and to make music that is beyond what lives in the SoundCloud trenches. Faygo is on the Beats commercial, man. Like he has potential to become a huge crossover artist.
And I think a lot of the greatest artists that came out of the SoundCloud, they had that as well. They had some sort of natural God-given talent or ability to, you know, either it's singing or most of the time that's what it is, to really vocally like get on tracks that you wouldn't expect them on. Like Juice WRLD getting on tracks with like Marshmello. Peep got on track, Lil Peep got on tracks with Marshmello, doing songs with like, you know, I'm trying to think who else. X being able to do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the great stars that come out of like this, you know, niche have that
crossover potential.
Yeah, some sort of X factor crossover potential that can, you know, get them out of there. And that's why I have believed in SoFaygo up to this point. Yeah. And I think he can break through. We will see if he actually does. Let us know in the comments if y'all are fucking with the tape. Yeah. You know, you can DM us. We can talk about it some more. Yeah.
We will also be coming out with a album reaction, album review, album recollection, if you will, however you want to call it, after Pink Heartz is out as well. Do you have any other concluding thoughts here? Long story short, I don't think Travis Scott has ruined SoFaygo's career.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. Not yet. Not yet. It is possible. It is possible. I think saying ruining his career is a stretch.
Yeah, we clickbait y'all.
Ruining the Pink Heartz album rollout?
Possibly.
Quite possible, I would say.
Possibly. I'm interested to see you know, what other brand deals does Travis have for Faygo, like in the cut, like post Pink Heartz? Because we already got the Beats. Yep. We got the Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. What else like is he gonna do? I'm sure he's gonna be able to do some things that we didn't think he would be able to do at this stage yet. Yeah. We'll see.
We will see. We will see. Never underestimate the Travis Scott push, man. That is an all-powerful man right there. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Let us know in the comments how Pink Heartz is sounding. Did we blow it? Is Travis Scott the worst thing to happen to SoFaygo's career? Holler at us in the comments below.
Yeah. Let me know how I did on all of my facts about Faygo. Fact check me.
Yeah, I can't wait till you get the Faygo heads in the chat.
No,
actually, it was July 27th that he follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Soul Serum. Subscribe to us on YouTube, the main page, the TV page, man, TikTok, Discord, the whole fucking shebang,
yes,
Twitch.
Sir.
Google us, man. If you don't know, Google the shit, man. Google the shit. Thank you all for listening. As always, I am your host, Clay Bonine.
Co-host, Tanner Mavis.
And we will see you all next week. Deuces.
Yes, sir.